We are back at it again here with another video at the Invest for Tomorrow. To the first time viewers and investors, welcome to the channel. To all subscribers, welcome back. Here we are with the SPY, the S&P 500 index, continuing to fight and hold support here. And in today's volatility, our SPY bot at 10:25 a.m. sent out a bear indicator. And from that moment forward, outflows crossed the midpoint to the downside. Pure weakness there on 42 vision, and put options went up 150% plus within an hour, guys. If you guys want to receive this clarity and edge of the charts, you can now gain access to it as well. The link is down below in the description to the 42 vision indicators, getting connected over to our bots, and becoming part of a growing community of investors, all looking to learn and grow together by receiving this clarity and edge over the charts, whether the stocks are going up or going down. So we're going to break down the key levels I would watch going into tomorrow. But before we do, I want to share with you guys the home run opportunity that was presented over in these charts today. And we break it down using the flow distribution indicator. So the home run of the day was spectacular and beyond expectations. And if you guys want to know about these stocks early on, you can receive this clarity and edge over the charts. You can gain access to it as well and gain access to our inflow versus outflow, bull indicators, and bots. Now, here we are with the QQQ sitting at a tight consolidation after dropping very quickly from $496.67 all the way down to $496 almost. It broke slightly below it, and you can see here the timestamps of that entry on the QQQ calls for $496, and it was at exactly $244. And if we go ahead and look at that here on the chart, that was at this bar as it was pushing downwards closer to $496. I made a decision and it quickly popped back up to $496.39. This was the resistance I was watching, and it rejected off of it and fell down slightly below it. We were slightly negative, but quickly the bulls ate it up, and that was actually something I was looking for to then come and retest this resistance. And once it broke out away from it, which we could see those inflows starting to begin turning positive, and you could see here on this bar, the longest bar, once we pushed away from it and used this resistance of $496.39 as support, things started to take off. And right as we reached this resistance up here, a $496.70 area, that's when I made a decision, which you could see it there. It was just a few minutes. It was about a 7-minute, 8-minute trade from 244 to 251. And 251 here on the charts, I'm going to pull it up in just a moment, was literally on this bar, right? From right here, this is the 3-minute, from 496.40 all the way up to 496.70, and on the 1 minute to be exact, it was right here on this push, guys. And it went from 70 cents to 96 cents, and we made a PL of 312 on the day on the QQQ. And I also had a trade there on the SPY that made $140. But this is the whole concept of seeing these divergences. I was slightly a little early, but as soon as this divergence began and went from negative to positive, I was no longer worried, and I was paying close attention to what was going on. And if you're seeing it live here in the action, it's going from positive to negative. And look at the drop from 496 to 493 all the way down to 496.67, a 30-cent drop, and these negative flows are starting to dominate. It's going to need to turn positive to justify any move back up. If not, in this volatility, these negative flows are going to start eating up this strength. So that's what this is about. This is what the inflow versus outflow show us, and you can gain access to it as well. Again, click the link down below in the description to get connected, join the community. We look forward to having you join us, and let's jump into these charts. Here we are with the SPY, the S&P 500 index, continuing to hit bright green bars here on these charts, and I'm going to pull up the bull and bear indicators, which you can now gain access to, the 42 vision indicators, and our inflow versus outflow. The link is down below in the description, and we look forward to having you join us. Here we are with the SPY, the S&P 500 index, under a bear indicator for the first time since the bull indicator from down here at 543. You could see the strength there after hitting a dip area of white with red borders 2 times and almost a 3rd time, right? It was almost a triple bottom there, and it broke above the resistance of 550. It has taken off, and we were watching 553, we were watching 555, and we slightly got above it, and here it is fighting to stay above it in the post-market hours, back under a bear indicator on the 30-minute, And we're also seeing here on the 1 hour a bull indicator still. So that bear indicator does not have enough strength until we see the larger picture. The 1 hour follow it. If not, it may just be volatility. But it is something to not ignore that this bull indicator since 543.78 is still holding strong. Now, if we zoom into the volatility of the 15-minute, we can see a bear indicator here that popped up for the first time since the bull indicator from 548 last Wednesday, and it lasted up until today with a bear indicator canceling it at 555.71. Here it is at 555.37, and this is something to not ignore. It's where a resistance was found in the middle of the day before pushing down towards 554 and finding a double bottom here. So we have bulls fighting here in this tight consolidation, trying to break out. If bears reappear and no bull indicator pops up and inflows don't follow, this bull indicator may have an impact. And that's why the 30-minute and the 15-minute are under bear indicators, and it hasn't popped up on the 1 hour. So the support of 554 is going to be crucial here, even from the pre-market levels and aftermarket levels of last week. It is a level to not ignore. But right now we're pushing up towards 555, and I'm going to pull up the flow distribution indicators, and we could see here in the bigger picture why we're holding up and what it's looking like. So here we are with the SPY, the S&P 500 index on the 30-minute, showing us how inflows were looking strong at the open, right? Plus 162. Now things quickly started to drop when these two bars turned negative on the 30-minute, a total of negative 100,000. And things were trying to sit flat here and cancel each other out in this volatility, right? It went all the way up to 556.20, came back down near the opening price, and it was bouncing between 555.19, 555.50. And when it actually ate up all of this volume, it's once these negative flows went to negative 82 and this negative 120. These two together is what really ate up that plus 162 and that plus 48, right? In total of plus 200,000 plus positive flows. And this is what ate it up right here. Really, this was zigzagging back and forth, but this is what made the impact. Now, inflow started to pick up again, and it brought itself back up near the opening price. You can really see here why there's supports being found and why things slow down where they do. Because when you add this up, it barely came back up to make itself positive again or sit even near the open. Where things really changed was here at the end of the day, and that's why we pushed back up and we're slightly above the opening price of 555.17, sitting here at 555.40. So this was the big push that changed everything, that plus 591. And I did the math. There was a positive total, this is just an estimate, rough estimate, of 970,000 and a negative total of 400,000. So why were things consolidated and stuck within this range? Well, because it did not really change until the end of the day here on that pop of plus 591. If not, things were sitting at around a positive total of 400 and a negative total of 400 going into the close. And what changed it and made it much more positive and is trying to retest these highs is that positive flow here at the end of the day that we see here on the 30-minute. Now, that's why things sat sideways. Now, when we go to the 1 hour, we could see in the bigger picture, things started off pretty negative. Even though they were looking positive, it switched really fast to negative. And once it changed, again, it was the end of the day, guys. That plus 500,000 changed everything because there was only one positive, a plus 78, canceling out this negative 58, bringing it back up to the same areas within that bar. That's why it didn't go much higher, because the positive flows were not enough to cancel this drop. And there was still another negative 140,000. This is what changed it all, guys. And that's why it came back up towards those levels, towards the beginning of the day when it popped up and trying to get back above 555.50. Now, in the volatility of the 15-minute, we could see here within the chop, positive flows at the open of 165,000, and then quickly those negatives started to form, And on this one bar here, even though it was small, and even this one, we already saw the divergence forming and a resistance that was taking over. And the negative flows dominated all day for the first half. And if we go ahead and look at it here on the second half, yes, flows picked up, but it was a lot of volatility, and it all changed here at the end. Because when you really look at it, the range was 554.20 all the way up to 555.20. That $1 range all day in the second half after dropping. And what changed it and pushed it back up was those positive flows here at the end from 554.60 all the way back up towards 555.50. So that's what flow distribution lets us see. It lets us see why we're in the areas that we're at. It lets us see early on those divergences that set up opportunities, as you saw in the home run of the day. And you can now gain access to it. We're releasing it this month. You want to join, the link is down below in the description to receive the clarity and edge that you deserve within the volatility. And the first supports that I'll be watching is 554, then comes 552, and the 550 area to the downside if outflows start to begin, and if inflows continue to dominate going into tomorrow. 555.90 to 556.20 will be crucial, and then above that I'll be watching 557 and how those inflows dominate going into tomorrow's volatility. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.